Alrighty. Hey everybody. I'm so glad we could hop on together tonight. Just as a quick reminder, this coaching call is going to be featuring a couple of individuals, but all of us are listening in learning because I promise every one of us sees a little piece of ourselves in the person being coached. And group coaching is actually super interesting because all of us can have different light bulbs go off at different times, but often whoever is being coached, we're going to resonate with. So I just want you to be thinking of what you can learn personally from the person that's being coached, and also the questions that Carissa and I ask as we get started. So let's kick off with prayer, and then we will dive in. Okay. Lord, we just do want to thank you for the opportunity that we have to learn together tonight. I thank you for the people that are on wanting to learn and be coached. I thank you for so many people that are coachable. And I just thank you for the lessons that this business is teaching us. I thank you that it's exposing, and exposure is good. And that's how we learn and grow. So I just commit the time to you. I pray that you would bless everybody that's on here tonight. I pray you bless their businesses. Thank you for the marriages and the families represented here as well. I just pray a covering over all of them. We just commit it all to you in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, I got a text from Justin. He is not able to be on tonight, unfortunately, but we have to tag team. We're in the stage with our kids. So he's at a sports banquet tonight that we didn't even realize we had. So anyways, he sent me a text that I thought was so good. So he's sitting in this coaching or in this sports banquet, and he's just sent me a text. Literally, it says leadership, discipline, focus, commitment, consistent, mindset, strength, speed, endurance. And I said, I'm using that tonight on this coaching call because those are all characteristics of things that we have to exercise in this business and what we do. And so I just think there's so much to unpack in each of those words, but I love words. I feel like the older I get, the more I'm becoming like my mom, reading the dictionary and getting so excited about what words mean. But I just thought that was really good. And those are needed, necessary things that we have to be exemplifying in this business. So I'm going to just give a blitz overview. I promise I won't take very long, but I wanted to just remind everybody, some of you have heard my revelations recently, some of you haven't, but when I was in Portugal, I was in the presence of Brittany Howard a bunch, and Christina Williams, and a few, Jessica Heffley and a few other girls, and I had tea with Emily Gibson and Jessica Heffley, and it was very interesting. And I just feel mind blown at the thought model that Emily is teaching, and it's honestly opened up my brain to a bunch of different things. And so what I've been talking about on coaching calls recently is kind of like the I don't know if I call it a pendulum, but like two big things that are kind of like balancing, right, in this business and what we do. On one hand, we have the skill set, right? And Emily has said multiple times, she's like, all of us know, well, I should say, all of us are learning the skill set. Some of us are newer, so you may be like really brandy new to learning the skill set, but it's learnable. It's not necessarily hard stuff, right? It's the 4 pillars, which are recruitment, retention, duplication, and leadership, okay? Those are like skill set things that we're always working on. I'm gonna say most of my Plexus journey, I feel like, has been focused there, right? I'm all about taking action, take massive action. And when you take massive action and do all the things, you will see results. Well, one thing, when I had tea with Jessica and Emily Gibson, there was some conversation about a situation where someone had, invested in some coaching and then didn't do a certain piece of it, which is often the thing, the area of avoidance that a lot of us avoid, right? We'll hop on a call, we'll hop on a coaching call, we'll do, a lot of things in our business, yet we avoid the things often that will actually move the needle forward. So anyways, the thing that this particular girl avoided was 200 reach outs. That was part of this like 12-week coaching thing. And what was mind-blowing to me is that Emily said it wouldn't have mattered if that girl went and did the 200 reach outs. She would not have gotten results. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? That's crazy. Take the massive action and you'll see results, right? Well, that works if you have mindset in the right place, you have belief in the right place. And that's just like been blowing my mind the past 2 or 3 weeks, thinking through that. And so it's made me like even take a step back and start evaluating, like, oh, well, interesting, right? And so we have on one side the skill set piece, right? Totally learnable. And then we have the mindset piece, again, totally learnable, right? We can all learn and grow in that area. And there is an aspect of, as we do the things, we're going to grow in our mindset. We're going to learn these things, right? We're going to grow personally as we just practice, right? But what I think is so fascinating is this whole idea about what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and then the results and the actions that we're taking, and then the results that we're getting, okay? And so I was actually teaching my kids this because, interestingly enough, I've been co-teaching a nutrition course, and today was the last class, and it was on 2 of my jams. I told the kids, I'm like, blood sugar, we had a chapter on diabetes, so I was like all over the blood sugar balancing thing. And then the very last chapter was about emotional health and how it impacts our organs and impacts our thoughts basically create, like there's so much science behind how our thoughts, even the thinking part, like sets off a whole cascade of hormones in our body. Isn't that fascinating? Like super cool, it's mind-blowing stuff. But anyways, I was telling the kids, I'm like, we have to be proactive, right, about the thoughts that we think, and we need to recognize the battle, because there's a battle. And thankfully, if you're a believer tonight, we have extra on top of, secular type systems. We have Jesus and we have the Word of God that shapes our thinking and that helps us overcome, regardless of what experiences we've been through in life, because that is not an indicator of your future success. I was asking Justin last night, because I don't know if you guys know about his past. A lot of people are like really shocked, but he grew up in he had a really hard childhood and an abusive dad. And lots of crazy stuff. His young adulthood was full of all the things that do not define his life now. Drugs, alcohol, copious amounts of all of that and everything that goes with that. Okay, just imagine. So I was asking him, like, how was your childhood shaped? And he goes, you know what? He goes, there's the God factor, thankfully, right? And so I just appreciated that answer, because we're not limited by the things and the experiences of our past. Anyways, not sure where I was going with that, but I just thought it was so cool that as I'm learning about this Emily Gibson process, and are any of you in her coaching, or have you listened to any of her things, even her team calls? She goes through this model. I think it's brilliant, honestly. And I think it helps us uncover sometimes why we get stuck, because it's up here. It's the thoughts we're thinking, right? And so just as a brief overview, I was teaching my kids this actually before the class yesterday. So it's a CTFAR model. So C stands for circumstance, T stands for thoughts, F for feelings, A for actions, and then R for results. And I thought it was really interesting because I actually joined her monthly coaching just to hear more and glean more from her. And she said action looks like one of 3 things: action, inaction, or reaction. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so tonight, at least as I coach, I'm gonna try to use this model, hopefully in a helpful way, to help us uncover sometimes if we're not getting the results we want, and then looking back at, well, are we taking the action? Well, what are we feeling? What are we thinking? What is the circumstance, right? So anyways, I just wanted to blitz through that. If you're curious or want to learn more, there's a little $19 5-day coaching videos that she is offering, and it was really interesting and helpful to me. So just going to share that with y'all. So I am going to actually coach, right? Coach first or coach second? You're going to go.
Well, you're going to coach Tracy Lynn, and she is on. Tracy Lynn, do you still want to go second, or are you able to go right now?
I could go right now.
Okay.
Well, we can just keep chatting. Hopefully people aren't tired of my voice already. But I'm going to let you talk, actually. So Tracy, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey so far with Plexus, where you're at, maybe your rank, how long you've been in Plexus, and kind of where you're at, your wins, and if you feel stuck in any way or have some things coming up in your mind that you want to chat through.
I started taking Plexus in July of 2020. And I started working the business-ish maybe a month or so later. And my direct sponsor was not my coach, it was the one above her. And I immediately got quite a few people involved and interested, and I knew nothing about customer care, and they all fell away. And then I just kind of put stuff on hold because I had also started another new job at the time and couldn't literally hold anything else in my brain. And then I started feeling pressured by God to do network marketing. It's not my forte. It's not my desire. But it is a process that God is growing me personally through. So it makes sense that he's asking me to do that. So about a year ago, I started working more intentionally in the business, and I had a really good push in the fall and was able to make senior silver. And I don't think that I'm still senior silver, but I have a really cool certificate on my dresser to remind me that at least I got there. I'm currently going through, I will call it a wilderness. I get really bewildered by individuals who won't stay on the stuff. Like, you bought it, it's in your home, why won't you take it? And I can get people excited and I can sign them up all day long. And right now I'm just so weary with the people who, didn't take it consistently for a month and go, well, it just didn't do anything, I want my money back. Great, I want my time back. Like, I get a little moody about it. So yeah, that's kind of where I am right now.
Okay, all right. And did you tell us what fuels you? If Plexus isn't your passion, what passion is it going to fuel, or what passion is it fueling for you?
I think it's the personal growth. It's teaching me to be relational with people, invest in the lives of others, and I'm actually enjoying that. I've been frightened of people in general for a long time. In fact, it wasn't until a year ago when I started being more intentional in the business that I started using my own real name on social media, because I had some like online stalking and that sort of thing. So it's just coming out of this fear box. That's part of what fuels me. I'm in a season of shifting my mindset, saying I can do these things even though they're big and they're scary. And I just want to be able to say that I did it, right? I did the scary thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And do you so you're not doing this for money or an income?
I mean, that would be nice, but it's not the driving force for me, no.
Okay. And this is a second income stream for you?
Correct.
Okay. So you have a full-time gig going on?
I work part-time as the secretary as my church for now.
Okay. And is there any, okay, so the income is nice, but that's not a driving force, but is it still, do you have a goal in mind? Like, oh, I'd love to be gold, or I would love to be ruby, or anything like that that's like achievement related, or even if it's not linked to money?
I definitely have my eyes on gold really, really, really hard.
Okay.
Like, for sure and for real.
Okay, awesome. And why is that? What will that feel like? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to your family?
So my it's just one of those I don't know, personal driven things. It's I don't know. I was going to say my first answer is that the sponsor that is coaching me through all of this, that was her rank for a long time. And so I felt initially that was really unattainable, and now I'm a lot closer. And it's like, oh, I can do that. So it's just the next on my list.
Okay. So the achievement is the biggest factor for you. Just saying like, I did it. I'm a gold ambassador. Is
Yeah,
that right?
probably.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. And you know what else? It means that you've helped about 20 people, maybe, 17 to 25 people ish, right? Which is huge.
Right.
That's super
Mhm.
cool. And think about like the investment that you're making in other people. Like you have served that many people, which is so cool. Have you thought through what feelings you'll feel when you go gold?
I know. I know it'll be excited. I'll probably do
Mhm.
some ridiculous happy dance that should be like a meme or something. That'll be great.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Feeling excited, happy dance when you see 100 points come across your dashboard. Okay, awesome. Alrighty, so do you still feel like you have trouble retaining people, or that was just initially?
Now I still have that. That's actually part of the current wilderness is I had a big push again. Okay, I can do this. I can figure out how to retain people. I can do 50 different things to soothe them through that situation. And I lost a pretty big investment customer emotionally the month before last.
Mhm.
And I think I've just been pouting since. That
Okay,
just kind of was a brick wall. It hurt a whole bunch.
yeah. Okay, so I have some practical thoughts on all of that. And by the way, everybody's resonating with you. Like they're popping in the chat like, "Oh my word, the wilderness, yes." I know Emily Gibson said like in the middle of the month, she's like, "Oh, you'll totally have a plexus period. So just expect it." And she's like, when you're frustrated, you're like, "Oh my word, there's no momentum, nobody's talking to me, nobody's replying." She's like, "Yeah, that's your plexus period. You'll be over it in a week. It'll be okay." I was like, I have never heard that. I think we're all girls on this call anyway. So anyways, hilarious. And you're totally normal. Like all of that, everything that you said, I totally resonate with, and everybody else does too. So, but I think I want to try to use this, and let's plug in the circumstance. So what would the circumstance be that is like the frustration? People quit on me, or people stop their products. The circumstance can be proven in a court of law. We can, this is not a thought or a feeling that people are quitting, but they're actually like calling into customer service, "Please cancel on my account, I'm finished."
Right.
So people quitting on me. Okay, now we're gonna plug it into that. So what thoughts does that trigger for you?
I have general abandonment issues, which is probably why it hurts so bad when people do quit.
Okay.
So my thoughts are that I didn't do well enough for them. I didn't have the chutzpah to make that person take their products every day. You're going to love them. You just have to take them.
So somehow it's linked to, like, it's somehow my fault or your fault
Right.
that they
Right.
didn't stay on the products.
Right.
Fault. I didn't do well helping them. Yeah, totally valid thoughts. I've thought the same thing.
I also heard her say, I lost my investment
Lost my investment.
and I want my time back.
Mhm. I want my time back. Okay, now what feelings does that create for you?
Oh, it makes me want to vomit. Very sad. Frustrated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then when you're feeling that way, what is your course of action? Do you take action in spite of all that, all the feelings and the thoughts? Do you react or do you not act?
I tend to withdraw and not act.
Okay.
I'm going to crawl in my little hole and die. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Crawl in the hole and die.
I'm a little dramatic. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Drama. Yes. Drama. Okay. And then what results does that create for you?
Oh, well, none.
Yeah, no results. And if we're feeling all these feelings, I mean, maybe we're not reaching out and checking in on the other people either. I don't know. Is that true for you or no?
Yes, and totally scared too, because when you do, they go, oh, by the way, I meant to tell you, I'm quitting too.
Okay, so interesting. And this is Emily says, she's like, our thoughts and our feelings are not necessarily right or wrong. Like, you set them on the couch over there, or hold them out in front of you and be like, okay, I didn't do enough for them. It's all my fault that they're quitting. I lost my investment. I want my time back. Like, just thinking those thoughts. And I mean, valid thoughts. I've had the frustrations, those thoughts as well, and the feelings that come from those. And so Emily's like, we can keep thinking those thoughts, and we can keep feeling those feelings, but do we want to be operating from those feelings, or do we want to be feeling that? Maybe that's a better statement or question. What feelings do you want to be operating from?
Ooh. I would love to be feeling, what's that word? Like helpful. I want to feel helpful. I want to feel validated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know what all of this Plexus goodness has done for me personally and others.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to feel like I have shared that gift.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in my life has changed in the past 2 years taking these products. In fact, I kind of have gym brain still because I'm training for a 5K, and 2 years ago I wasn't even off the couch for 19 years. I'm just saying.
Awesome.
And I want other people to feel that good. So I want them to have that wellness.
And how often do you vision cast that for people, either in private messages or even what you're sharing on Facebook? Do you post every day about how good you feel, or even every other day or weekly? What is your current, how often?
I've gone through seasons where I will post every day about how awesome all of the Plexus things have done for me, but it's been a hot minute.
Mm-hmm. I wonder when you are feeling, well, you're not physically vomiting, but you feel like vomiting, you're frustrated, you're sad about people quitting. Do you want to go be inspiring on social media and talk about everything that Plexus has done for you?
I find actually that when customers, oh geez, I'm about to admit petty. Okay. So when customers quit
This is so good.
for their specific reason, I will find myself in the ensuing days after they tell me like whatever that reason was, like posts from other Plexus people will pop out at me and I'm like, oh, so girl wasn't consistent. I want to post about consistency today. I just want to like remind her what she gave up. And I know that's not really healthy, but it's real.
But that would be an example of a reaction, don't you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So feeling hopeful, validated, operating from and also inspiring, because your story is inspiring. The fact that you have radically changed your life and your health in the past 2 years, that's super inspiring. And so I think it's really cool thinking about the feeling and the way you want to be coming across on social media, not necessarily posting out of reactionary frustration, but posting in a hopeful, validated, inspiring way. Do you think that will attract more people to you that want to feel the same way?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for using the word inspiring, because that is part of what I really, really want to do is inspire people. I just couldn't think of the word.
Exactly. Yes. So write down that word as one of your defining words. Tracy is inspiring. You could even put it like on your whiteboard or something. Okay, so let's go back to the thoughts that we want to think. So someone quits. What thought could we think in place of, well, because we want to be fueled by hope and be inspiring to people. What could we think that would release us from those other yucky feelings and give us the feelings that we want to be operating from?
I might need you to repeat that question because I was writing down wonderful notes
Mm-hmm.
and not fully listening.
Yeah. So instead of thinking like I didn't do well for them, it's all my fault, I've lost my investment, they wasted my time. What is a thought that we could? What thought comes from? We'll kind of work backwards. And so we started off with our feeling, which we want to be feeling inspired. We want to be feeling validated and hopeful. What thought could we think if someone quits or when someone quits? What's the thought that we want to replace with?
I don't know, maybe it wasn't their time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that I definitely don't want to go down the it's my fault road.
Mm-hmm. What did you
Maybe
do?
they're going through something personally.
Mm-hmm. Believing the best.
Believing the best.
Mm-hmm. Of them. But also, what about you? Where do you come in this picture when someone quits? Instead of defaulting, which is the way our brain sometimes just is naturally wired, like we're going to go to the negative, we have to intentionally like replace it with a positive thought, like, what did you do well?
Yeah.
Can you verbalize what?
Hey, I got them excited and interested, and I got to spend time with them, and that was not a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they take place or not, I went out there and I did the scary thing, and I developed that relationship,
Mm-hmm.
even though they hurt me.
Mm-hmm. I put down, okay, so circumstances the same. Someone quit. I put down, they'll be back.
Right.
They'll be back. After 7 years of doing Plexus, they'll be back. Maybe not 100% of them, but I have restarted so many people. A lot of I have a high recruitment still, and a lot of it is old people restarting. Hey, Megan, I restart those products that you helped me with 5 years ago. Can I get in on the deal? So they'll be back. Okay, that's a hopeful statement. Another one I think that you should own is I've loved them well. Because you spent time with them, you loved them well, you followed up with them. I got to spend time with them, yes, and you just believe in the best. Like, who knows what's happening in their life. Now, I want to come out of this for a minute. Okay, wait, really fast. From those feelings, okay, so those are the circumstances they quit. Our feelings our thoughts now are, I got to spend time with them, they'll be back, I love them well. And then our feeling is feeling hopeful, validated, and inspired. What actions does that create for you when you're thinking that way and feeling that way?
Makes me want to share, like shout it from the rooftops, all the things.
More. And share more in a reactionary, retaliatory way by finding a testimony that was a zinger might not be I'm not saying it's wrong, okay? I'm just saying we might be a little more creative when we're feeling inspired. We may actually be more, the word attractive, you know what I mean when I say attractive, the more attractive to
yes.
be the more magnetic, because this is the other thing, the kids and I are reading in this nutrition book about high frequency emotions. Okay, this is interesting because Justin was teaching the kids science about energy and how everything on planet Earth is vibrating at a certain frequency. And there's high frequency foods, okay? Think healthy foods, right? There's low frequency foods. There's high frequency emotions, okay? I would say those emotions that we just defined, hopeful, validated, which I don't know that that's emotion, but inspired, feeling love and wanting to serve others, those would be high frequency emotions, right? And so, and we want to be attracting other people to us that are also, you know, exemplifying those same emotions. Anyways, I think it's so interesting, right? So I'm going to go back really quick to the skill set piece, because there is a skill set part of follow-up to help ensure maximum retention, right? Now, there's going to be the bathtub filling, right? And some people coming out, right? Bathtub is filling. There's also, you know, some people leaving at the same time, but we want more water coming in than is leaving, okay? I personally haven't had 100% retention. So if someone has, maybe they can pipe up and share what they do. But my tidbit on that is, as long as you are following up in a consistent way, you can release yourself from any shame, guilt, meaning attached to somebody leaving. And I have to remind my brain of this, because sometimes that, you know, someone contacts me, hey, I'm done with Plexus, like whatever. And sometimes you're able to pipe in and just say, hey, well, tell me what's going on. What has your product experience been? I would say if you can get on the phone with somebody, sometimes you'll realize it's not Plexus's fault. They're just in a tough spot in their life. Sometimes you can salvage them, right? You talk them off the ledge and like, oh yeah, well, it wasn't really Plexus. It's like the straw that broke the camel's back. All these other things, right? So if you're able to get on the phone, you'll be able to understand a lot more of what's going on and just be a good listener to them, right? Now, so the skill set, have you listened to Emily Gibson's How to Follow Up in the First 30 Days?
I don't think so.
Okay, that might be a good helpful tool for you. Just search her on YouTube. I'm sure Carissa has it posted on her team page also. It's like a graphic. She literally gives you everything to say, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Or someone wants to go grab it and pop it in the chat here so people can copy and paste it to the notes in their phone. Someone can do that. But super simple. And I feel like if I have followed that, or some of you utilize my little sprinkle system, right? So it's just basically a little form, pre-written little messages, you know, a couple days before they get their products. I'm trying to pop in and just say, hey, here's a little getting started video. Here's this and this and this, right? So if you're systematic, well, maybe I should ask you, do you feel systematic in your follow-up?
Not consistently. I've tried half a dozen different methods and don't feel like I have found my groove yet.
Okay. Well, try Emily's follow-up system. Just try it on. See how you like it. And follow it verbatim. So put people in the notes or in your little calendar so that you get a little reminder when oh, it's time to follow up with Jenny. It's week 4 for her. But what Emily does is basically forecasts or it handles the objection before they can come back and say, oh, I have detox. She's already saying, hey, it's week 3. Are you noticing any sugar cravings or, bloat, headaches, anything going on? That's totally normal, right? So anyways, you can go check it out, but that might be a way to be systematic in your follow-up so that you have done your job. And then basically it's up to them if they're going to quit, because you did the system, you checked the boxes, right? So I feel like that has helped me release the guilt or release the shame over someone quitting. Do you feel like that might help you?
Yes.
So there's mindset, right? And what we talked about, and there's also some skill set, where maybe we could up level a little bit in those areas of just systematic follow-up. Also, I wanted to mention, I have totally felt the same way with my time. I'm investing my time in people and then they quit. What in the world? And it was actually Brooke Hemingway that helped me out of that scarcity it's scarcity and it's fear driven and it's not rooted in love. It says in the Bible that perfect love casts out fear. And also that, like, my thought is, like, I want to serve other people. And in this opportunity is full of opportunities to serve other people. And so I had to recognize that I was operating out of fear and scarcity and not in love and abundance. And so I switched my thinking from they were totally wasting my time to I want to serve these people well. I want to steward this well. Also, I'm going to help more. Like, there was also this little piece of me that's like, well, should I help more people? Just take care of the people I have. And I decided to open up my arms for abundance and say, you know what? God is going to give me the time in my day to take care of the people that I need to take care of. My family, children, my people, my Plexus people. And guess what? He abundantly blessed, right? I had another baby in 2020. My business has grown exponentially. And so, but I don't feel stressed or anxious about that. I just have prayed that God would bless the work of my hands, that he would give me that, magnify the hours in my day. And so I don't know if any of that helps with mindset in light of they wasted my time, because I think that is a thought that we can think, that we can choose to think, but I don't know that it's going to serve us and give us the feelings that we want to be feeling when we're serving people. If we're feeling like they're wasting our time and then we're trying to be kind to them versus this is a stewardship. I want to love these people well. How can I serve you today? And there's going to be a level of people will quit, but they're going to remember that you loved them. And when they're ready to restart, they're going to come back to you because you treated them so nicely and so sweetly. And so anyways, I don't know if that resonates with any of you guys, but I had to come to a point where I was like, I'm willing to keep growing because I'm not done helping people and just shift from scarcity to abundance. So, okay, I think it's probably about time to switch over, but do you have any other little things that you want to pipe in or think or, say after what we just chatted about?
No, this has been wonderful. It was super scary, but you are very sweet and I appreciate it.
Well, you know what? I forget that it's scary to be in the hot seat. It is really vulnerable. But if you look at the chat, there's like 23 comments. You can go scroll through those when you get off, and just see that you're not alone. You're totally not alone. I'm tracking with you, and I know the other girls and guys are as well. So I will mention that we're recording this. So go back through it, tomorrow or sometime and listen to this coaching session, because you may even pull more out the second time through, because you're not going to have emotions attached to, I'm in the hot seat. I will also send my notes. So maybe if there's some extra things that jog, or if I think of some more things like, hey, here's something else to think about, I'll voice message that. So,
Yay, thanks.
I'm so glad you're on tonight. That's so awesome. Okay, let me move this back to gallery view. And Carissa is going to coach Jess. Jess, there you are. Hey.
I loved that, by the way. Before we move on with me and Jessica, I loved that. And what really stuck out at me just real quick is how Emily has said this in the call, that our brain will tell us that the problem is in our actions. Like, oh, I'm not waking up early enough. I'm not taking the time. But how interesting that, Tracy Lynn, if you were to go and reach out to and sign up 200 people, but still operating from that place of, but I know they're going to hurt me. I know I'm going to lose my investment. I know they're going to quit on me. It's so interesting how that's the thing that would keep you from really wanting to go out and find and serve those people, because there's that wall that you have that they're going to abandon you, they're going to hurt you, they're going to quit on you. And so addressing that is where you can then get fruit from the action. So that was just phenomenal. Way to go, both of you. Okay, so Jessica, are you unmuted?
I think I am.
Yep. Well, welcome and thanks for being here.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, no, this is a big deal for you to be here to share for the group. And so tell us about just a little bit about your Plexus journey up till now, and kind of give us an idea where you're at with your business right now.
So I started in 2016 in May, I think. the end of May. And then that was back when, kind of like what we do now, I signed up as a customer. And then in June, I switched to an ambassador. I was with another network marketing company at the time. And so I kind of came into it with wanting to grow a business. And this is my fourth network marketing business. That was 6 years ago. So this is the one I've stayed with longest, and that I've actually seen the results from it. So, anyway, so that's where I was there. I went silver fairly quickly. My mom joined and a couple other people and kind of hung out there. My mom also ranked into silver and somewhere up in there. That was before the whole senior silver thing. She has, she's in her mid 60s. And so she has a super solid team of people who order every month. And she went senior silver last month, but, she's kind of backed up from sharing. She's really not posting or doing anything like that now, but like her people are kind of what has been a solid base for me, because I've had them just come and go and come and go and come and go. And so, I hit gold. I'm trying to remember now if it was 2020 or 2021. I think 2021, it was like right before convention, because we talked about it at Megan's when we were there. So it was one of those 2 years where it was virtual, and maintained that for about 6 or 8 months. Every month I was just over 100, not very far past that. And then the past several months had kind of dropped off. And then we came to, was it March that we were working for the Remarkable?
Mm-hmm.
And I earned that in March. And that's probably like signing 6 people in a month is probably the most I've ever done personally. I mean, I've done it over time, but I don't think ever 6 in a month. And then April, I kind of dropped back off again. I helped my mom sign a couple, came back again. And then this month I have one that has joined. So I'm teetering like at 100 points at the end of each month, the last couple of months, but it's kind of a close thing there. So that's just kind of where that is.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, big congratulations on getting back to gold. That is a really big deal, and it's a huge thing to celebrate. Can you identify like what was it that was sparked that made you want to like jump in and add 6? I mean, obviously the Remarkable tablet, but what was it about that made you go, yes, I'm gonna jump in and do this?
So a couple of things. I mean, the Remarkable was fun. I have looked at that in the past, and it was not where I was going to spend money on right now. So that was a little bit of it. But I think part of it that was March. So the end of February, I think I don't remember if I was close to gold or something. And I think Megan and Wendy had reached out and like, oh, are you going to push for gold? And I have gotten to the point where I don't like the end of the month push. I am a huge procrastinator, but that end of the month push feels really gross to me, because I know that I'm like reaching out to everybody and their brother. They don't know that. And I remind myself of that. But like for me, it feels gross because I haven't done the work all month long. And that's the difference, is that I haven't been reaching out throughout the whole month. And then to try to push that last day just feels gross.
Yeah.
And so we got to the end of February and I had not done anything. And so I told Wendy, I was like, look, I'm not going to do it tonight because it just feels, I don't want to do it. Like, it just doesn't feel good. And so, so then going into March, having that incentive to kind of work for also, but just deciding like, I'm going to put the work in now so that I don't have to do it all at the end of the month. And amazing, it works.
Yes.
Go figure.
Yeah. And so how did it feel like when you put the action in early and it didn't feel gross and you didn't procrastinate, you didn't live into that identity that you've told yourself, you've come into agreement. Well, let me say that just to the group, that if you hear yourself say, I am a procrastinator, that's an agreement. That's coming into an agreement with an identity. But then in March, you didn't act that way. You didn't behave that way. So how did that feel?
Oh, much better.
Okay, better. Not just but better. So that you're in contrast to how it feels to procrastinate and then feel gross at the end of a month. It felt better. It felt, I don't know, give me more words, like Better, besides better, how else would you describe it?
Well, consistent was a big one, because again, that's a place where I tend to struggle, is feeling like I'm not being consistent in lots of things, not even just life in general.
Okay.
So the consistency, and then, excuse me, and also the, I don't know, it kind of created almost a freedom of reaching out to people. Like, I knew that I still had time. And so there wasn't this like, the push and the, I can't think of the word I want, but just that push to do it right now. Like, we haven't really talked about it all month, but like, I need you to sign up right now. So when I started talking at the beginning of the month, there wasn't that pressure, and I could have a little conversation and then I could walk away, or they might not respond. And I knew that like, I still have time to
Yeah.
circle back.
Yeah, like breathing room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, instead of frantic.
Right.
Yeah. I'm writing all that down, and I'm also thinking like the contrast to gross. Like, what's the contrast to gross? What would you say?
Well, Wendy typed it in the chat just now, but the joy of earning that, and the, I don't even know the word I want. Just the, like, being proud of myself for doing it, and not not being prideful about it, but just proud of the work that I had done, of the consistency, and
Mm-hmm.
the time that was there.
Love it. I think too, so you'll tell me if this is accurate, but like when I think of the contrast of feeling gross or icky, I'm thinking like, sort of, you feel like your integrity is intact, like you feel
Mm-hmm.
your integrity,
Yeah.
aligned with your integrity. Okay, very cool. Okay, so I also want to know, like, where would you really like to be in Plexus? I don't know, like in the next 2 quarters. Like, I'm not saying, this month, what's your goal so much, but just in the next maybe 2 quarters or year, like, where would you like to see yourself in Plexus?
I would love to be on the road to Ruby, or to Ruby within, that next year or so.
Okay, so 500 points. And is that more about what that means to you? Is it about the paycheck? What does it mean to you?
The paycheck. I work part-time I work for a mobile coffee cart.
Oh, cool.
It is the funnest job because we serve free lattes to people. Like, we bring in an espresso machine and all the syrups, and they get free coffee because someone else paid for us to be there. And so it's a very fun job, and I love doing that with people, and the smiles that it brings to people's faces. I work with Christian people who are fabulous to work for, but it means being away from my family. So I homeschool my 3 boys. My oldest is graduating this year. And I miss that time with them, and that time freedom of being able to make up my own. Like, if I want to go do whatever, I can just go do whatever when I want to, and not be on someone else's schedule.
Yeah.
So the income part of that, just to be minimally making what I make there, which is, that's doable right now, but to be making that, and then to have a little extra beyond that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, good to know. So on the months where you feel like you're procrastinating the work and then pushing for a rank and feeling gross, what action follows those feelings, or reaction or inaction? Like, what does it look like when you go, I'm not doing that again? So then what does it look like specifically with like your Plexus business? Like, what do you do or not do the next month?
Right. Well, in March, it motivated me to actually do better, because I didn't want to be in that spot again.
Sure.
Most of the time it just continues that cycle of, well, I didn't do it last month, and then just kind of not digging in and doing it the next month either. So just that continued cycle of not doing the things.
Did you feel gross, I guess, like so I guess the period of time, like you got to gold, and then you said there were 6 or 8 months where you were kind of hanging around gold, and the decision point of, do I go ahead and push to maintain my gold, or do I, let myself off the hook? Is that the period of time where you're saying it felt kind of gross?
I think in general, I mean, probably there was a lot of it during that time, but just in general, anytime we come to the end of a month, and I think, again, the reason that I feel that way is because there wasn't the work in the beginning part of the month. So it feels like I haven't really done anything all month, and then all I'm going to try and push at this very end.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But then my brain says, why are we doing this? Because you haven't put in the effort before now. So there was probably a lot of it during in that gold area. And then kind of when that dropped off was also part of it. But yeah.
Yeah. And so you're feeling out of your integrity, all of the opposites to those things we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So what was different? So you said then you came up on a month where you felt that way. And then the next month, instead of procrastinating, you dug in and worked earlier in the month, and you experienced feeling that breathing room and that freedom of time and the sort of confidence that comes from consistency. So can we identify what switch flipped, where you took the feeling gross and icky and turned around and did a new thing the next month? Do you know what was different that caused you to react that way?
I'm sure there were plenty of things. Yeah, I think almost like proving it to yourself that you could. Trying to think, Wendy and I have talked about this because it was such a crazy difference. And I don't remember what we discussed, but yeah, just kind of that almost the freedom of not, I don't know how to even describe it, just letting it go and kind of letting it be in God's hands, and then but doing my part of the work. So having those conversations, but not feeling so pressured because there was still time and there was other people, time to reach other people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally agreeing with you that it feels way, way, way better. But I'm also trying to figure out what, because what you've described is that you've had several months of feeling gross, pushing at the end of the month, and that as you usher into the next month, you have been in a pattern of avoiding and procrastinating the work. And maybe we just need to dig a little more into that, because I don't quite understand why that's been the pattern, and I'm really curious to know what changed the pattern.
Right.
So can you help me understand why feelings of, oh no, I procrastinated, now here I am pushing for my rank when I haven't put the work in on the front end, this doesn't feel right, I feel out of my integrity. And then those are the thoughts, those are the feelings, and then the actions that followed that what were they? Were they avoiding posting, or like the next month when it was time to set a new goal? Or was it, I don't even want to set a new goal at all, I don't even want to, what was it like?
Yeah, the setting goals hasn't really happened. And then just, yeah, it comes down to not really posting on Facebook or doing those things. And I think some of it too, we had done some of the Success Principles book and talking about no excuses and no blaming. And what's the other one? There are 3 of them. Anyways, but I think kind of putting those excuses aside, like, okay, I have to work, but like I still have hours left at the end of my day, and lots of other people work and do this. Lots of other people homeschool and do this, and I think that I finally got to that point in March where it kind of became that, not making those excuses and not letting that be the reason that I didn't do something. Or, and I think I had heard something from Emily Gibson maybe too about buffering, and instead of buffering and going to like Netflix or whatever, which that's not mine, but instead of that, like let plexus be your buffer. So let the time of reaching out kind of fill in that place. And I think there was a little bit of that happened that month. Like, let it be when I have downtime and I want to do something mindless instead, why don't I send a couple messages or follow up with a couple people or
Okay.
make a post? And so I think, yeah, getting
Yeah.
to that.
So in that, I'm hearing so much good. Like you got into a place of like, what if I tried this? What if I buffer by sending out some messages or buffer by doing some posting? And then what you, I think, have experienced is, oh my goodness, this feels so much better. I feel relief. I feel breathing room. I feel joy. I feel proud of myself. I feel like I'm walking in integrity. I like this.
Right.
So when you feel those feelings, then I'm guessing you want to do more of those things. So how has May gone, activity-wise, IPA-wise?
May is a little better. April was not great, which is weird because I kind of just came off and dropped down. May is a little better, and I have used the excuse that our work is crazy busy the first 2 weeks in May. So now this week has been a little bit more free. But trying to be up when I could the first 2 weeks to do the power hours in the morning with a couple of people. And then this week trying to catch minimally at least 3 or 4 of those.
Well, let me stop you real quick and say it actually doesn't shock me that April, wait a minute.
Yeah.
April wasn't so great because you came off of March and you had a big goal and you really wanted to reach it. And so I think that there can be some lingering, like you've got a pattern going of, okay, when I'm pushing for a goal, it's an icky thing. And so you came off of March and you pushed for a goal and you got it. And then in April, there was probably a little bit of defaulting happen where you're like, okay, that goal's behind me. I'm going to avoid a little bit.
Right.
So what we need to do, I think, is come up with some like bridge thoughts, because it doesn't have to be true that setting a goal comes with feeling like you're outside your integrity. It doesn't have to be true that setting a goal comes with feelings of pressure. And you may not be able to leap straight to, it can be really fun, but you can start to be aware that you're going there, and then have a couple of bridge thoughts or questions that are helping you kind of get to a place of, you know, maybe I can do this consistency thing. So let's see.
And I will say really fast, I don't think it's the goal part of it that feels icky. I think it's just the work at the end without the work in front of it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I felt icky after I earned the Remarkable. It was great. And my boys were fabulous about celebrating with me. And so like that part of it felt good, but it's just that last minute, like doing those things when I know I haven't done what I said at the beginning, I guess.
I'm glad you clarified that. Well, then what's the reason that after hitting that goal, what's the reason in April that you kind of screeched to an activity halt a little bit? If not that, then what's the reason in April that you kind of stopped working?
I think the lack of goals probably plays into that as well. I'm not good at setting a monthly goal every month of where to go. Like it's just kind of, we'll see where it is. I think the other part, and again, this feels like a total excuse, but it's just kind of what happened. We went to visit family the first month in April, and they're not like totally outspoken about it, but there's comments made that they're kind of like, oh, she posts all the time on Facebook, but about someone else. But I'm like, well, I do that too. And so I think that week kind of shut me down because I was with them feeling like, oh, now they're all like going to be critiquing me and they think it's crazy already that I do this. But yeah. Okay. So that was kind of the start of April. And then I think I just let that keep going.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So started the new month, but have not been in a pattern of setting new monthly goals. The goal in and of itself is not an icky pressure thing. It's the last minute, but haven't been in a pattern of setting new monthly goals and kind of just entering your new month reacting to what's coming at you. So you came into April and had family members bad mouthing another network marketing person. And in the absence of intention of a plan of action for your goal, you're kind of an open invitation for whatever to derail you. I mean, it could be, it could be this excuse or that excuse. I'm not calling them excuses. I'm kind of using your terminology there.
Yes.
This family thing, I don't want to invalidate that. Like those things can really sting.
Right.
So awareness of them is important and getting curious with it. But yeah, it's kind of like in that pattern, you're kind of an open invitation for just anything to derail you. And with that pattern being so comfortable, it's really easy for anything to derail you. So I'm curious, what can you try, and what bridge thoughts, if you can't go into a new season of your business going like, okay, I am Miss Consistency now, and but what can you try thought-wise, what feels possible to kind of get you out of that place where you're an open invitation to be derailed? What are some thoughts and questions that you can start to adopt that feel natural, like don't feel unnatural?
Right.
If you're ready to go, yes, I am like the model of consistency in my Plexus business. So, but what is like a bridge question or thought?
Right. So I think part of it is just being confident in knowing, like, I know that they work. I feel that they work.
Okay.
I've seen it in other people. I mean, my mom, for one, who is closest to me, like,
Yeah.
I can't let other people create that doubt or the, I don't know what the word, but knowing just that confidence of these products work, they're legitimate, they're good, the company is good. Like, I know these things. And so either being willing to state that or just let that go so that it's not what derails what I'm thinking and what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Jessica, I'm going to look at some of these comments. Jessica completed 75 hard. Someone asked above, do you believe that you deserve to be Ruby?
Yes and no.
Yes and no?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't even know. I probably would have just said yes before, like, without really thinking about it. But I think the scary part of it is, again, kind of back to what was it Tracy was saying, is caring for those people and doing that well.
Caring for those people and what?
And doing that part well.
Okay. Caring for those people well. So the part where you're not sure if you'll care for those people well is the scary part. That's the part where you wonder, do I deserve Ruby? Okay. So we want to make sure that every day you wake up and you are operating out of feeling, oops, I'm back on Tracy Lynn. Hang on. There we go. Nope.
Mhm.
These kind of notebooks are the worst if you're, oh my gosh, it just totally derailed it. No bummer. There it is. So instead of waking up and feeling vulnerable, I guess I feel like there's a vulnerable to being derailed or vulnerable to something just completely throwing you off track. And so I think you want to be waking up empowered and waking up daily, reminding yourself, I can be consistent. I can feel like I'm walking integrity in my business. There can be breathing room. There can be joy. There can be freedom from pressure and sort of that franticness that comes from not having enough time. And so you can acknowledge all of the negative emotions that kind of creep in, or even just the criticisms that can kind of creep in, and then kind of remind yourself and shift yourself toward, but I know that I want to feel integrity, and I want to feel freedom, breathing room. So what can I try that's going to feel like that today? What can I try that is going to bring me to that place of operating out of those things? Yes, someone just, thank you for whoever wrote down, I know the products work. I'm confident the products work and that the company is great. I've seen what my mom has experienced. She has this strong, solid team consistently buying from her. And so what can I try today operating from those thoughts and those feelings? Okay, so I just curious about this. What were your points at the end of April?
They were 106 or 8 or somewhere in there, I think.
Awesome.
Like just over, yeah.
What about your mom?
She did hit senior silver, so she was just over 50.
She did. Good.
And getting her to senior silver obviously is what pushed me over. So that was the push at the end of last month.
Okay, very exciting. Okay,
So
well,
I said April not great, but I guess it was. It was better than I think.
well, yeah. Results wise, maybe just in your internal world, you were still
Right.
dealing with some of those incongruent, things.
Right.
Okay. Well, so Ruby is kind of the big goal, the big, little bit longer term goal. And then for this month, on your way to Ruby, it can feel, senior gold can feel far, 250. So for this month though, are there people in your team that you can help get to silver?
I'm sure there are.
Okay. I'm sure there
Yeah.
are. I'm sure there are. And so one of the things that you can be doing early in the month is thinking, who can I be helping get to silver? Your goal might be 175, or it might be 180, something that's getting you halfway to the point of senior gold. But you can be operating from that place of servanthood and integrity by going, early in the month, who can I start some conversations up with? I'm sure there are. I love that you said that. I'm sure there are some people I can help get to silver. I'm sure there are some people who are struggling in the way my mom was. And I know these products worked for her. How am I going to find the people who have the same needs? And you can just start asking yourself questions from that place. Yeah, I love that too. Someone else was like, I'm sure there are. It's a good one. Okay, Megan, do you want to chime anything in before we sign off?
Hey, yeah, no, this is really good. I wanted to link a article about hope because Tracy and I were talking about, well, she was talking about the word hope, and it's actually one of the highest frequency emotions that we can be feeling. And hope, I think that is what really moves us forward because it reveals what's in our heart. And actually, she was talking about how it's really, really important because you can actually sculpt your brain and like change it in its physical makeup by operating from hope and also with a lot of thanksgiving. So as we're thinking through like what thoughts we're going to change, be considering this idea of hope. So I'll send Carissa what I just posted to my business page and she can share it if she wants. And it's so good. There's so many good things in there. So wanted to just chime that in. There's a little snapshot of hope, and she goes through like 7 different things. And so I think you guys will shift your thinking about like really giving weight to what other people think of us, like what defines a hopeful person. And so good. So anyways, just wanted to chime that in.
Awesome. Very good. Well, thank you guys so much. This was an awesome call. We had a lot of people and I'm really excited to go back and watch the recording. I always get a lot from watching it a second time. Okay. So Megan, do you have anything to close this out?
I don't. I guess I wasn't thinking about the closing part, but just to really think through what thoughts, to get curious with the thoughts that we're thinking when we're not getting the results that we want. because it goes back to what we're thinking and what we're feeling. And I would also encourage you guys to make it a practice. I'll just show you guys really quick. Every single month, I have in my journal, I reflect on the month previous, and then I set my intentions and my goals for the current month. And so that's a habit I have gotten into, and I would say that's what moves me forward. Because if we don't have something that we're moving towards, or we don't have a tangible something, you don't have to have like some sort of crazy goal every single month. You don't have to make a push goal every single month. Like, take into consideration your life also. Not every month needs to be a push month, but we should be moving forward. And the way we move forward is having some sort of goal. Goal is not a bad word. Goal is important. And if you don't hit the goal, it's okay. I set a goal last month for Senior Ruby, and I didn't hit it. I ended at 703, but I was a heck of a lot closer to my goal than if I wouldn't have set it, right? And so there was a possibility that it could happen. There was a lot of iron, a lot of things in the works, right? And it's hope that keeps me inspired to keep working towards a goal, right? So anyways, we'll just close it out with that. And if you don't have anything else, Carissa, we'll just go ahead and roll off, and I'll get the recording up.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
Good
bye.
night, guys.